So I recorded my live reaction to the stream that Treyarch had today, the multiplayer stream, and a lot of it was, talk about the multiplayer and the actual mechanics and stuff. And so if you don't want to see that, you don't want to hear that, and you want to just get to the most important parts, I'm going to leave you some timestamps so that you can skip ahead and go to the parts that were, I guess, the best parts of the stream. So here you go. Here's some of the timestamps. I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope if you want to watch it, I'll just continue. But here you go. I just freaking ran in here. I gotta turn my volume down. I hope the volume is good, guys. I haven't really had time to really fix it. I was just washing some dishes, ladies and gentlemen. Because, when you have to eat food, you also have dirty dishes, and so I had to wash those. And I kept coming here to check on the time, make sure it hadn't started. Let's make sure everything's good. Alright, we got it 1080-60. Turn those effers off, those annotations. Let's put in the chat here, I love Vaughn's bald head. Why can't I send? Oh, we're on like a timer. I forgot. Oh, they're playing zombies music. I just realized that. That was the music they played during the Voyage of Despair trailer. I mean, they're playing zombies music. I mean, I'm not expecting zombies. I'm not like going in here like thinking we're going to see zombies. I don't think that at all. But it would be a big treat. Honestly, like I want to see. I really want to see. I really want to see Blackout. I want to see Battle Royale. I'm hoping that they show that, but oh. Well, this is the new Treyarch Logo video. So that's what they're going to be opening their live streams with this entire BO4 cycle. Because with the BO4 cycle, it feels so loud. With the BO4 cycle, we got the opening to. Oh yeah, that's cool. I like that Treyarch. On my end, it's really loud. On your end, it might sound fine or something. I don't know. There's John.
Welcome to Treyarch.
Oh God.
I'm John Raffis, and this is the very first live stream for Call of Duty.
That's very low.
Black Ops 4, the first of many streams from our new live stream studio.
Guys, I'm sorry.
So
this isn't me.
right
This is their audio.
On May
is very
17th,
low.
we revealed Black Ops 4 to the world. And next week, we've got E3, where we will have 4 playable multiplayer maps on the show floor. We thought today would be a great opportunity to kind of talk about where we were at Reveal, speak to a few community questions that came out of Reveal, but also look ahead to what's in store for next week. And to do just that, I brought with me. All right, let's.
Lord Vonderhaar.
Next week, multiplayer maps on the show floor.
Oh my God, the
let's
audio
start
so
broad,
low.
sort of recap a little bit about Reveal. Dan, why don't you tell us about
I
can
barely hear
for
it.
Black Ops multiplayer when they get their hands on it?
Well, first of all, Black Ops 4 is a game that's been built from the ground up to be played online with friends. It's a game that really reinforces your social connections, your social gameplay experiences. I think that's what our fans and our community has come to know and love about Treyarch and the games that we make, whether you're playing competitive multiplayer or cooperative zombies. It is a deeply engaging and
he mentioned
continually
zombies.
rewarding experience.
Zombies is confirmed, guys.
With competitive MP, I think we talked a lot about it. Vaughn, you're welcome to jump in any time. But
this is the new Treyarch live stream setup.
Don't worry.
This is what we're going to see for like the next 3
so
years.
Game,
this is it. What you're seeing right now is what we're going to see for the next 3
back
years.
in a kind of different way, in a new twist. We talked about it being is deeply rewarding. With a big focus on overhauling our weapon systems, making those systems feel like
Deeply
they're more
rewarding.
competitive, more satisfying.
I wish it was louder. I'm sorry, guys.
Deep
Honestly,
learning
it's
curve
not
that,
me.
players can master.
I can barely hear it
But it's
myself.
also got a more grounded, more tactical feel to it.
That's right. We want to introduce that tactical layer so that players feel like they can compete together, that there's a whole new layer of depth to the game that they can play and just continue to master over a long period of time.
So, David,
Is Vaughn going to talk?
so I'm not-
I didn't even take a breath.
My job is done. I don't have to talk anymore. I just go home. And,
no, I'm kicking it back over to you to talk about game design decisions. So if you could talk about some of the design principles at play that you guys have enforced for Black Ops 4.
Yeah, so, I mean, always we start with what we call the game pillars. And they are sort of foundational things that guide a lot of the decision-making for where the game is. So they're, I use them in my job as kind of a report card for the work that we're doing as a team. So one of the big ones that's important to me for the pillars was rewarding in all things. I think that's a really simple way of saying everything that you do when you play the game. Like if you press a button, it has the haptic feedback, it has to give you audio, right? It has to animate. Like these are all really simple things in isolation, but together they create that kind of experience where subtly, you know, doing something as simple as reloading your gun has a lot more to it than just everything that you know about reloading your gun, maybe historically, right? And that includes effects, animations, the model.
This audio is trash.
Lighting, I mean, just across the spectrum. So that one's really important. The other one that we talked about a lot was fun to watch, right? And there's a lot of ways to think about fun to watch. It's not just, hey, this supports streaming features, right? That's a thing, that it's streamer friendly, but also the game design itself, right? So when Dan talks about the specialist in particular, there's an example of as a
So maybe the audio was good for you guys.
while you're watching the game, you understand a little bit more about what's happening there because you're watching a particular player play a particular specialist, and that particular specialist has things that and does things that within the game loop that no other player can do. So that makes it sort of easier to understand when you're watching,
in the background,
a way to
dude.
associate how well you do playing that person than with the person who's actually streaming. So those are like two, and then the third one.
Well, all that feeds into.
I see the Call of Duty zombie comic, right below Wanderheart. That's so cool. Look at that. You see it? Right below Wanderheart.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you create a class and score streaks and selecting your weapon and configuring your weapon and the chat. I mean, all the
Dude,
things
Vaughn's
that
got
make Call
that
of Duty
beard,
are still
dude.
here,
That beard is
in a big
sick.
way.
The third pillar is we wanted to have
And he's
a
actually
deeply
getting hair
rewarding
back.
road to
Like,
mastery
no shots
where,
at Vaughn, but
we want players to feel like
he was
they can
pretty
pick it up
bald,
easily,
if I
but
remember
that
correctly.
journey that
Or
they
did
take
we
from
just
the
make that a
beginning
meme?
of playing the game all the way to
He's pretty bald.
you know the infinite number of levels they might earn through the game.
John Raffis is
it
more
feels
bald.
like they are constantly learning new things, and that there's
It's
never
just funny to make fun of
there's
Vaughn.
never a nuance
sorry
that
for
they
talking
haven't
over
picked
this.
up on over.
I'm listening.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that's I mean, and we want the game to be learnable. So that was, you know, it's a big kind of guiding principles. We want everything that you put into the game needs to be done in a way that's predictable, so players can figure it out over time. They can learn how to do it. They can master it themselves.
And manifests itself in, say, like the weapon
Manifest.
design, where every weapon, and you know, we like.
That was
to
the
say
interesting
it's
word in Black Ops 2
snowflake, but
Zombies.
It's so really modeled after the concept of a brand, or modeled after the concept of a character itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it's not just mastery of I unlocked all the attachments for this weapon, but I unlocked all the attachments for all of these weapons, and that path to that mastery is actually not exactly the same, right? So in a way, we took a lot of the stuff that we were really good at in the systems, like putting nice things in nice clean boxes that are easy to understand, and we sort of opened them up and cracked them open a little bit. So, and this is a small example of road to mastery there. It's also specialist and how they combine together, right? So on day one, you might not even realize that if you have a character with a healing capacity of any sort, and then you combine that with someone like Firebreak, what that does. So you'll see this sort of interweaving through the entirety of the game design, and that that's been quite a journey.
And then also like finds its way into more nuanced elements like predictive recoil.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a
Another
perfect
reason.
example of a kind of an overhauling a system that we've lived with in our games and the franchise for many, many, many years. That we wanted to kind of challenge what assumptions this game is built on, and then fulfill that pillar that we have. That you're going to have a game that's deeply rewarding and a game that has a long road to mastery. So predictive recoil is an example of just another layer of changing a core mechanic to give players something that they can learn over time, that they can understand, that gives them that.
God, I want to play this
predictability that they can
game.
master over time.
And at the same time, when you take predictive recoil and you combine it with the progression, the way that the guns progress, and you mix it with sort of how they all interplay and the long range, and then you get the combat loop that you can sort of, for us, is really important to take a crack at what does the combat loop look like, where does it modify, at what stages does it modify. That's how you end up with something like the need to self-heal, to start initiate your own heal. So it's interesting because when you talk about features, it's like the simple way to talk about features is to say we have a feature that is that you have to initiate your own heal, right? And in isolation,
Dude,
that
Vondar's
seems
a
like,
legend.
okay,
I
maybe
love
that would
this
be
dude,
okay.
man. I want to have a
It's the
conversation with
totality
Vondar.
of the experience of the features and how they all interweave together, and that's a very tough story to tell when you're on stage for 10 minutes for the public reveal, but something that I'm personally excited about being able to come into the studio that you built the house that John built. That's quite gorgeous, and we can maybe dig a lot deeper for folks who
Yes.
know about those
No
things.
time
Let's go
limits,
deeper.
David. No time limits.
There is some time limits. There is the fact where we have to finish the game, but sure, I like that. So if you're if
Let's
you
go
want to
real
get
deep.
into the weeds a little bit
David.
with us, this is the place to be, I think.
Yeah, that's the beauty of doing a live stream like this.
Let's
is
go
that,
into the
you know,
weeds.
we do have a very tight time window to be up on stage and explain.
Oh my God! Look at the
everything about the game in a
right next to
compact
John
5
Raffis's
to
head.
10
That's the
minute
Origins mystery
session,
box. That's so
but,
freaking cool.
we come here, we get to say, why do we make
Dude,
these decisions? What's
Put that in the
motivation
collector's
behind it?
edition.
How do they all interconnect together?
Yeah.
Right. So you get maybe the better journey, or the more detailed version of that journey and how they tie together.
Well, let's take that idea and apply that to something that you raised, which was the regenerative health. So coming out of Reveal, there were a couple questions around health regen. We put up a Reddit post that tried to outline some answers. There were still a couple follow-up questions that came out of that post.
Perfect. This is exactly in my wheelhouse.
So first, I mean, let's just start broadly from like a design perspective. Like, what is the player benefit? What's the player benefit for having to trigger health regeneration?
So there's so many ways to answer this question. I'd like to try my version, and then you can maybe take your perspective on this.
Cool.
So from my perspective, you have a fan base that extends Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3. And all of those players, some love 1, 2, 3, some love all 3, some love various combinations, right? And in some universe,
I love
you
all
would
3.
want to Black Ops 4 to be a game that all of those players can really engage with. If you loved 1, maybe we can get you to love 4, but not necessarily isolate a guy who loved 3. So throughout the Black Ops history, there was various degrees of lethality, right? So the first game was maybe a lot less lethal, or the time to kill was longer than 3. So you get to kind of balance that out by saying, hey, tactical players, they have a decision-making point within the combat experience that they have to initiate, right? So if the other guy's not thinking about health the way a tactical player might think about health, that tactical player can have
Daddy
a chance to
Vaughn.
compete against a high-skilled
Daddy Vaughn.
guy with great gun skilling, I might say. So it's really about tactical decision-making within the combat loop, which changes the pace of that loop, so it puts pauses in it, and really puts the player in control of that combat loop, as opposed to the game says, you will now heal, right? And now we say, you will heal, you will decide when to heal. So if you're a game designer, being able to kind of take the things out, the game needs to do things, it needs to work, it needs to maintain the rules, but ultimately giving player agency over things is always been kind of a step from Black Ops to 2 to 3. We've been continuing to find ways throughout the history of our development with Black Ops, right? Same thing with Create a Class, right? Same thing with many features. How do you just let the player have control over what that experience is when you can and when it makes sense? That was a long-winded answer, I think.
It was beautiful. It was poetic, David.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Another thing to add to that is that it introduces a point of tension in the game in the combat loop. And that point of tension is something that I think just adds depth. And if you go back to our pillars, every decision that we make on the development team is guided by those pillars. So if we say we want this game to be deeply rewarding, so give me a road to mastery where I can learn, I can master a mechanic, and make it feel good and satisfying at every moment of that journey. Then we look at every decision that we make and every kind of system and feature that exists in the game, and something like heal is something that it removed that decision point. It doesn't let you kind of stop, pause, rethink, reposition yourself in a combat engagement. So the effect of having self-healing as a mechanic that's manual is that the combat you see people staying in combat longer because they'll take damage, they'll pull back behind cover, they'll stay behind cover a little bit.
Funnest part of the experience.
That's the funnest part of the experience. I mean, staying in those really high intensity battles.
It's the funnest
really
part of the
satisfying
experience.
Part of our game, and so we want players to be in that experience more often.
Well, there was also kind of a follow-up question.
love the healing
So it's
mechanic
like
in this
on
game.
one hand, there was like,
Love
explain to
that
me sort of how this all
decision. So
works, what's
cool.
the benefit. But there's sort of the follow-up about stim and the use of the stim
I
shot.
wanna
So
play.
how exactly does that factor into
Oh
health?
my god.
So in early development, when we start to bust out numbers, or you play the game at reveal or at E3, everyone should clearly understand that when you're at this stage of development, none of the specific tuning is completely locked in, right? So
That's a good point.
So no one worry,
Yeah, we're pre-alpha.
right?
That's a great point.
However, here's what Stim does. It does two major things. When you heal, there is a time period before you can heal again, right? So if I go out, take damage, heal, go back out, take damage again, now I have to wait. I can't heal immediately.
Yeah.
So stim will shorten the time that it takes for you to be able to do that. It also speeds up how long it takes. So after you stim,
The game looks so good.
then how long it will take to get back to full health, right? So I've heard it all before. How is it going to be not a crutch, a gear piece, right? So the answer is tuning. The answer is data. The answer is player feedback, right?
That's a great
this job
point,
here,
Vaughn.
that in the abstract it seems like, well, you're going to have stim. Well, you're also going to have to make super tough choices between stim and other 4 things in the gear slot. So I'm not worried. You don't have to be worried. This is what we do with you all, right? Exactly.
Vaughn is laying the law down,
And the
son.
gear categories and new introduction.
I swear,
content
Vaughn's.
created
I
class
love
this time
Vaughn.
around where
Vaughn Hart's
we wanted to
legend.
take some of those kind of modifiers that you have to your gameplay experience and take them up a little bit in the power band so that you get something that increases the granularity of your combat customization, somewhere between perks and score streaks. That's what gear does, and you get to choose 1 out of 5 pieces of content in that category. So stim is 1, and I do want to just kind of echo what David was saying. It's pre-alpha. We do a lot of tuning between now and game launch. We incorporate feedback from every time we put the game in players' hands, and it doesn't stop there. Beyond launch, we are constantly tuning the game. I mean, you saw that with Black Ops 3. We're still making changes to the game, even recently. So
Some that you love and some that you don't love.
but all for
DLC
the
6
good, all for the
confirmed.
good of
No, I'm
the
just playing.
community and the gameplay experience. And in this case, we've already tuned Stim Shot based on the experience that people had at the reveal event. So we were watching.
So now it's faster, right?
We were collecting data. It's funny because there was a lot of, it was a hot topic in the community. People were talking about Stim Shot. They were talking about armor a lot. Those are the 2 kind of big ones. The data that we were collecting on the back end from all of the performance metrics showed that armor wasn't even that effective at helping people stay alive longer or get more kills or anything like that. So armor was actually one of the weaker pieces of content in that category. Stim Shot was very powerful, and so was the motion sensor. Motion sensor was also
Dude,
very
the
powerful.
game.
So both of
Oh
those
my
have
God,
been
we
tuned.
won't play
We
it.
do need to nerf the motion sensor.
You guys
it
have
has
totally
been.
gotten out in front of my next question, which is like,
It looks so
at
good.
reveal, starting with revealed. I mean, the game has been in people's hands more and sooner than we ever have before. Like, what have you taken away from that? What have those experiences kind of put your attention on from a design and development standpoint in terms of kind of what you're evolving? It sounds like that process has already begun.
Wow, geez. So the way that we measure, the way that we track performance, the analytics that are gathered, and what
Excuse me? I don't want 480p.
to do with those analytics was
There we go. I can
stuff
see
that we spent
Vonderhaar.
a lot of time on.
Beautiful
trying to-
freaking
we started
face.
on 2, really? And then on 3, we had real tools, and then on 4, the tool development about how to measure that. So, it's hard, but you have to, for me personally, try to take the emotion out of the decision making that you make there, because people have very visceral reactions, right? So, to be at a reveal event, which is a semi-private event for the most part, and be able to gather and collect data about the game being played at reveal, that is like light years ahead of even where we were on 3 in so many ways. So
Yeah.
normally you
True.
don't get that kind of
That is-
data.
that is true.
Maybe you get it at alpha. Some get a little bit of beta, and then you don't get the most of it until the game's out when a billion people are playing, right? So it's nice to be able to have that kind of stuff up front. Some mad shouts.
A billion
out to
players
the
confirmed by Vonderhaar. JK, I'm just joking.
All right.
But we've done a whole tuning pass. All the weapons have been touched. All the pieces of gear content have been touched. Score streaks have been tuned.
Show me maps.
It was a good first
Show
run
me
to get this in
multiplayer
people's
maps.
hands. To start
Please let
kind
the
of
leak be
testing the data that
please
we're
let the leak be
collecting
true.
with our own internal playtest data.
17 maps, please.
And kind of judge also that
I don't
Vaughn
think it
mentioned
is.
the emotional component, try to take the emotion out of it, but it is a data point as well. You've got your metrics, which you're saying, how is this thing actually performing against the ways that we measure performance? But then you have sentiment, and you have perception, and you have emotion. There is a part of that you have to take into consideration.
Twitter.
When
There's
you
a lot
tune
of
it.
Twitter.
There is. Twitter's they have a voice, and it comes through loud and clear.
Don't worry, Reddit. I got you. I got you. I've been loud and clear.
Vonderhaar's the meme legend.
Well, that's probably a pretty good point to start sort of turning our attention toward E3 and looking ahead to next week. To kind of
Yes.
kick off that discussion, Dan, you've got
Yes.
some news that you want to share with us today.
Oh my God.
Yes. Are we talking about the E3 maps first? Yeah, one of the things that we are talking about at E3 is we are bringing back 4 fan favorite maps for Black Ops 4.
What?
Four fan favorites, Dan. Tell us
It's
what
true.
they are.
It's
I
true.
actually haven't
Oh my
figured it out.
God.
The first one that we're talking about is Jungle. It's a map that we've made in Black Ops 1. It has not been revisited since Black Ops 1, but it's one of our favorite maps from development. And we just feel like it didn't get enough love.
Jungle!
We've
Whoa!
remastered the jungle.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Is that why you did that one?
Yeah. It's an awesome map, and it was.
It's an awesome map.
And we've not only completely rebuilt.
You will like it.
completely rebuilt the map.
And this is a map that will be available when?
This will be a map that's available at launch.
Okay.
It comes with the game.
Comes with the
It's
game.
part of the game experience, and it's each of these maps that I'm going to talk about, we've rebuilt from the base level, from the ground up.
So the leak was
all
sort
new,
of true.
Visuals, all new.
Because
we've
jungle,
done some
no one
gameplay
said
tuning,
jungle.
some
Dude, I
changes
love
to
jungle.
Adapt to the mechanics of the game as they've evolved from Black Ops 1 to now Black Ops 4.
Dude,
so
I'm
that's the first one.
hyped.
Okay. Jungle.
Slums.
Slums.
Slums!
You want to talk about it?
You guys want to talk about how
Dude,
awesome it is
Slums was
and,
one of the best maps in
nature, like,
BO2.
the competitive nature of that kind of map, the walled garden in the middle. Right?
Oh
These are
my
all
God.
experiences that
Slums was a
fun to come
freaking
back to.
legendary
it's actually
map.
really a good thing to sort of remind ourselves what we learned then, right? Because when you go from 1 to 3 and things that had happened between those games, how fast 2 was, and then the verticality of 3, and then come back around again, right, on 4 to look at Slums as as a pure great design roller test case. It's like, oh, this is why these maps were good. These were why these maps were popular. And when you get to 4 and you come back to the ground, right, you got to it's kind of maybe slightly obscurely to say it's actually important to remind ourselves that the pace of 4 is more in line with 1 because you're not thrust jumping and you're not wall running, right? So it's sort of like a really good way. So Slums for me was like, oh yeah, this is the one. This is the one that I
Dude,
loved, right?
Slums.
That's good. 'cause,
So good.
I love Slums.
We all
So
love
the community
Slums.
Was happy to hear
Yeah.
he's nodding in agreement down there.
Yeah, but that was one of our
Come on,
audience
keep giving it
members
to
from
me.
Black Ops 2, and they the community has asked for that one to come back many times.
Yes,
and so
freaking
it's
legendary
a pleasure
map.
for us to bring it back. Next up, we have Summit, which was
Summit!
another, classic from Black Ops 1. We
Whoa!
joke because it was one of the first maps that we actually built for Black Ops 1 multiplayer.
Can we tell you the truth about this? The very first map you make for any game, new game, it's actually the last map you finish. It's like you're trying to get your mind around things, and the level of self-criticism about the first map that you make, and then somehow the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, those maps are so much easier to get done. And Summit,
I love hearing about game development.
was a
Oh my
very
god.
popular map, and it was a map we liked. But it's also like the one map you were playing forever. Right?
Well, perfection takes time. But yes,
Summit was a freaking great map.
Summit was one of our favorite maps.
Yeah, after a while. Right.
Some of us have to work on it a little.
I get to do the fourth map.
Okay. Do it.
Firing range.
Oh, firing range.
Is that a question or a statement?
That's a statement.
Nice.
Firing range is
Exclamation mark.
Firing range is the.
Oh my
fourth
god,
map, that'll
dude.
be
No!
available, Black Ops 4. Another
Don't
kind
buffer.
of really good sort of anchoring.
Hey,
map,
what the
right?
frick?
Newtown's a
No!
very
Stop!
popular map in our
Dude,
history
firing
for
range,
different reasons.
jungle, summit, and what was it? Slums. Oh my god, dude. 4 iconic maps. What the
This is
frick?
like
What's wrong with
firing
my
range
internet?
is,
It's my internet. I know that's what it
It's
is.
like a classic sort of engagement, sort of, the first time we got really comfortable with the idea of parallel lane.
Okay, like honestly, like
Which
is my
the
internet
concept
crapping
of
out?
the
Like I don't
structure,
need this
you
right
move
now.
to the structure in the same direction, and you can also move.
I swear I'm going to go off. It's not the freaking quality. It's just my freaking internet right now. I mean, going down the quality isn't going to help, but I'm
through
just
on the
trying
outside of
anything.
that.
I wanna hear Vaughn talk.
What fans, what the kids say, wall
No!
bang. Wall
Stop!
bang in that map very well. That's using bullet penetration feature to sort of shoot through a wall to hurt somebody on the other side of that wall. So there's a lot of really good lessons there. So I like these 4 maps because if you can use them.
Love
as
these
a,
4 maps.
as a history lesson and a coaching and teaching tool for the newer developers and map level designers who have joined us over the years, and they're good case studies in so many ways. As a and obviously I'm talking very from a designer perspective on those kinds of things.
Oh my god, dude, there's a
There's
freaking
more.
classic.
There's
What?
more. No.
You were born for this.
No.
Well, you did mention Nuketown.
No, I didn't.
You did mention Nuketown.
I did not.
Nuketown is back.
Nuketown back.
Nuketown is back. 5 remade
and
maps, dude,
it's a
at
map
launch.
that has been
Let's freaking go.
You know, it's a map that we've reimagined every game, and we've done something completely different every game.
Oh my god.
But with this one, we're kind of going back to the Cold War roots a little bit. And it is, but it's got a different twist. So if you look at the very original Black Ops 1, it was really built into that sort of American ideal of Cold War era suburban families. And we have recaptured that theme of the heart of Cold War, but we've put a different twist that we think is a lot of fun.
Oh my god.
We can't wait to talk more about it. And it is a map that we're bringing to our fans shortly after launch. But everybody who plays Black Ops 4 will get it.
Okay,
that
so
map was designed
that's cool.
by Adam
That's cool.
Hoggett, level designer for MP, who recently celebrated literally his 10-year anniversary at Treyarch. Congratulations, Adam. Also,
Congratulations
if I
to
have to talk
Adam.
about Nuketown one more time, I'm just gonna fall over. All right, so I ran into him in the parking lot yesterday, and I'm like, "Thanks, bud. Still talking about Nuketown. Got to talk about it tomorrow." So, look,
Vaughn hates Nuketown confirmed.
Back there a little bit, David.
yeah, I think it's fun for us to joke about, and you know, it's fun for us to do different things to it.
Dude, I
some
want
of
to
it's
see
looking
it.
at, and there's more to that still. So it is the perfect map for us to manipulate to serve our will. Right.
It's
So
something
that's
we're
why
getting after launch, so maybe November, December. That's great.
fans love Nuketown.
Very cool.
That's so
I want to keep the
awesome.
map discussion going. I want to turn our attention to the 4 maps that will be available on the show floor. First, I want to give a little shout out to Zombies. As you may recall, Jason and Craig showed up at Reveal to share information about the Zombies offering for Black Ops 4. Biggest Zombies offering ever, with 3 experiences on disc, 9 Voyage of Despair, and a sweet coming-of-age tale, Blood of the Dead.
Coming of age.
Anyway, Jason and possibly some friends will be on hand Wednesday, June 13th at 1:45 at the Novo at LA Live to speak with the one and only Jeff Keighley about Zombies, past, present, and some future.
I'm going to pass
So
out.
make sure to tune in next
Coming
Wednesday.
of age story.
Keep an eye out on our social
WTF?
channels to let you know when to tune in for that. Jason and Craig could not be here with us today. I have a sneaking suspicion that immediately following the stream there will be a little message from Jason up on our blog post that will shed a little more light into where they're at and what they're up to. In the meantime, back to multiplayer. Guys, sorry, I think I was like reading.
I want more. I want to see more.
4 maps, show floor. We got a lot to talk about here. We got some map fly-throughs.
Anyway,
A brand new map that people haven't seen yet,
here we
which
go.
we will get to. Let's first start with Contraband.
Contraband.
Contraband. Yes, so Contraband was one of the maps that everyone saw at Reveal.
Yep.
It is based on a tropical island off of the coast of Colombia, where an international arms smuggling ring is based. And so it's a really exciting map. It's a lot of fun. It has a very kind of jungle.
We have seen
vibe,
this one,
very
though.
Ocean vibe.
What is John smoking?
This isn't Spring Break District.
This is not a spring break
It's
party.
so beautiful.
There
This
might be
game. Oh my
pirates
god, I want it. Like honestly, October
No
12th
pirates.
came
Just kidding, no pirates.
Oh my god.
But it is,
Oh
you
my
know,
God, look at
Contraband
this.
was a really fun map to make.
I want
We
the game.
really enjoyed capturing that kind of that old
So
old world
beautiful.
vibe mixed with you know, this new world kind of Contraband under the radar sort of smuggling ring camped out here. So it's got a lot of underwater combat. Has really tight choke points on the bridge. This bridge is a central hot spot, especially in domination, trying to capture the B point. And that's kind of what this map is all about.
Yeah.
It also looks really good.
It looks very good, David. Bald Beast von der
And
Haar.
then next up, I believe this is the new one, Frequency.
Sure, we want to do the new one right away. All right, let's talk about Frequency.
Get into it.
Frequency is
I wanna
it's
see
a
it.
very small, chaotic map. Actually, in development, we're calling it frenetic because it's one of those maps
Oh
that
my god.
you get a lot of fast-paced action. It's got
Look
a
at
really great flow to it,
this.
constantly moving players around.
This is beautiful.
And colliding them into really great, intense head-on battles. But Frequency
I'm gonna
is
cry.
it's based in Hunan province. And it is a very large, complex listening station that our
Dude.
specialists have gone into assault. And it sort of has that a little bit of that kind of danger element to it, where if you remember, even we talked.
Dude,
about
that's
some
Black
of
Ops
the
2
first
vibes
maps
right
that we
there,
did,
dude.
where
Look
we-
at that.
We added the risk of falling to your death, so you have to be careful in certain areas.
That's Black Ops
This
3
is another one of
vibes.
those maps that you have to be a little bit more careful when you move around the outside lateral paths. But the inside is a super tight choke point hotspot.
Yeah, large. You say large. So the complex is large. The map itself.
The map is tight. Yeah,
so, yeah, for
Tight.
now, yeah, it's
I mean,
chaotic in the center.
Need to talk to our production team. I hope I'm getting this right, but I believe that this is the map that will feature the new mode Control on. Can you tell us a little bit about Control? And
Like, Control's only going to be featured on certain maps?
Control is a new game mode that we've introduced in this game. We've designed it with the goal from the beginning of really bringing out the best of the tactical gameplay that we have in this game, and
that makes
kind of
sense.
enhancing the roles that the specialists play at combat, where you can really, your team is going to work together whether they mean to or not. And that was one of our goals of this game, is that we wanted to introduce more teamwork without forcing it on players, let players kind of just play the game, enjoy it. We've talked about, we had this kind of philosophy of what's in it for me. Like, I want to help my team, but I want to make sure that I'm doing awesome myself. So every single mechanic that we designed is really designed to cater to our Call of Duty style of player, while also introducing teamwork, whether active or passive. And this mode is really built to bring that out.
With a shared, pool of lives, right? So there's an example of how you can. What's in it for me? Well, I shouldn't die, but then by not dying, I also, right, can help my team win. So those are how you get players shared goals, right, without forcing the shared goals, because it's bad for you to do that. It's bad for your team to do that, right, towards the end. So the way that this mode resolves can be quite intense. There's nothing like throwing yourselves on an objective at the same time you're trying to not die, right? So these are good examples of how you sort of can bring the teamwork out. We really talk about it in terms of bring the tactical play out of the game, and it's you will help yourself by helping a teammate. That's the what's in it for me kind of thing. But that might also show you that Dan is maybe not a team player.
Throwing yourself on an objective without dying.
Yeah.
Sounds like game development.
That's what I do.
It's intense. It's a great mode.
Wins before KD.
Fans love it.
Wins before KD.
All right, Seaside. That is another map that we will have on the show.
Seaside is a coastal, kind of old world town in the coastline of Spain that's been built. It was the site of a demonstration that kind of went awry. Government forces had to come in, so you see lots of big tanks have come in and barreled through walls. This is one of the first maps
So
that we
beautiful.
built on this game.
We are still playing it forever, just like every game we make.
But it's a lot of fun. I mean, this map has a big kind of open courtyard in the middle with
Looks so beautiful.
sniper overwatch positions that
Can you
are...
explain to me how the tank got in there? Because I'm still trying to figure that out.
You'll never know. It just busted through the wall and kept going. Yeah,
So
that
beautiful.
That central
That's
courtyard
BO2 vibes
is
right
the
there.
site of some very
That's
intense
BO2
battles.
vibes.
It
Oh
has
my
great
god.
sniper positions up there.
Oh my
While
god.
at the same time having a lot of tight, choky kind of flows around the outside. So if you want to take, for example,
Choky.
take the path of the wine cellar, it's going to be kind of a windy path, lots of cover, lots of sort of
Oh, that's so
in and out
beautiful.
positions that are fun to just fight close range combat with.
Treyarch has outdone
I do
themselves.
appreciate that the
They really
coastal
have. This
wine
is
were left untouched. So that's
Priorities.
Priorities are straight.
Treyarch has a
It's
history
important
of running
in Spain.
running tanks through that particular structure, those types of structures.
Last but not least, Payload.
Payload is an ICBM
Overwatch confirmed?
facility, a missile defense station that's built deep into the mountains of Iceland.
Nice.
Yeah, that was.
Going through the bullet hole thing. I think you're stealing the blackout stuff.
So you'll see
Blackout
it's
confirmed.
kind of like these large missile silos built into the mountain. You're going to play in and
Blackout
around
is
one,
confirmed,
so
ladies
that's
and
kind of
gentlemen.
the hook
Your
of
just
this map.
confirmed
You're
it.
playing through
I
one
wanna
of these missile
see
silos
Battle
around
Royale, dude.
one of the big missiles that's taken apart. You can actually fight in and through it. So it has some really kind of tight head-to-head spaces. The way that the lanes connect up in this map are very different from how we traditionally do, and that leads to some new kind of strategic opportunities for how you might attack the center. That center spot, again, is a very intense hot spot, but we also have some really tight paths that we've put, for example, some hardpoint objectives on that are really hard to hold down. And so, we want to do these kind of twists on the game modes to give players new experiences in how they capture and hold an objective, and this is no different.
It's fun to see the maps again. Usually in early development, I'll play these maps, but then I'm on to the next set of maps while they get arted up like this, right? So it's like, whoa, that's awesome. To see some of the work that the hard-working men and women of Treyarch Art Department has done to make this thing look the way that it looked, right? Good job.
All right.
You've been busy with those guys, huh?
Yeah, they've put in a lot of hard work, and they've turned out great.
All right, we've got a couple announcements to close things out. Before we
Oh.
get there,
Time to go.
any closing thoughts from you guys? Any last things to share? Anything?
Well, we can't wait to bring the game to E3.
Thunderheart, get
It's gonna
naked.
be on
What?
Show floor. Multiplayer is playable for our fans in a couple of places.
Yep.
So hopefully that can shorten some line.
Dude, I
and we'll
swear.
have more on that very shortly.
Absolutely, but if you're looking for what's playable at the Activision booth, you'll see us. It's in the South Hall, number 1001.
Oh, I wish
you
I was
can
there,
play these
dude.
4 maps:
I wanna play
Contraband,
Black
Frequency,
Ops 4.
Seaside, Payload, and it's also worth noting that we will have a number of PC stations set up and ready to go with multiplayer at your disposal. It's probably also worth mentioning that immediately after E3, there will be a couple of us at the DreamHack event in Sweden. So keep an eye out for Jonathan Moses and our brand new community manager on the PC front, a guy named Rob Smith, will be wandering around the show. And let's see here, what else we got? Following E3, following DreamHack, Black Ops 4 will also be playable at the CWL Anaheim Open on the following weekend from June 15th through the 17th. On the CWL front, immediately following the stream, you might want to check out the COD Twitch channel for all of the or for the schedule for all of the new CWL matches. And last but not least, wanted to throw out a few thank yous for today. We don't get to stream from a new stage without a small army of people making it happen.
The Origins
Couple
mystery box
people,
is so cool.
Tommy Lira, Robert Sanchez, Lee Staples, little Scott Eckert action thrown in there. Josh Negrin, thank you very much for all of the help on the production front. Josh Torres, Rob Smith behind the scenes, Stephanie Glover, Jay Per, your art services team, and everyone at Activision for helping to bring all the assets to life. Fox Designs, Kim, Grace, Rocco, the Treyarch's live ops and production teams, and last but not least, Rose Villasenor. None of us would be sitting here if it weren't for her getting so much stuff done and making it happen. Thank you very much. And to everyone that tuned in today, thank you. Looking forward to seeing you at E3, and we will see you back here at Treyarch soon. Have a good one, everybody.
There's no mention of Blackout, dude. No mention of Battle Royale. Dang it. I was kind of hoping we'd get a Blackout mention. Something about it, like just a little. I don't know, unless they have a reveal later. I just don't think it's going to even come on launch. Like, I don't know. So, closing thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can find my Twitter in the description. And my Xbox gamer tag. Comment if you liked this video. I mean, it wasn't like insane. It was cool to figure out the remastered maps. That was obviously the highlight. We had thought that it was going to be Raid, Firing Range, and a couple others. But now we know it's Jungle, Slums, Firing Range, and Summits. Which I'm kind of shocked that Summit is back. I love Summit. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't like. There's nothing against Summit. I'm full on with that map coming back. But like, I don't know. Like, I guess it makes sense for Raid not to come back. Raid will be back in this game at some point. But Raid did get remade in BO3, so I'm happy Jungle is getting remade, dude. Jungle was such an underrated map, and that's awesome. So I'm going to end the video. This obviously wasn't like too exciting. I'm going to try to do a live reaction to the Jason Blundell thing. Whenever that is, we'll find out. But thank you.